it's kind of not right that a lot of people in the world have to experience that all the time and deal with that risk. And water is 10% of all of us. Water's life. We all know the story. So my father and I, we co-founded Aqueduct Water Systems, where it's imagine a big water cooler, but just a lot bigger, and it's so that you can have off-grid, safe drinking water wherever you are in the world.
Welcome back, baby, to Leave Average for Joe. I'm your host, Briggs, and this is the podcast where we meet the entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and everyday visionaries who refuse to settle. Those pushing their limits and redefining what's possible. My mission is simple, to leave you inspired, and if I can't do that, well, I've failed at my job. No matter where I find you, whether it's in your car, in your earbuds, on a morning run, or playing through your speakers at home, I am truly grateful you're here, a part of this journey. After a couple weeks away traveling through South Africa and celebrating family weddings, I'm back and ready to release some of the best episodes to date. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Connect with me on Instagram at leaveaverageforjoe. Shoot me an email, admin@briggsandco.ca, or please visit the website www.briggsandco.ca. You can also sign up for the Friday newsletter there. Each week, I share 4 super cool new finds from the worlds of philosophy, business, health and fitness, and the arts. All right, no more waiting around. Let's get into it. Without further ado, welcome to the show. Hey, wait, I need my water. What are you drinking? What are you drinking,
Uh,
waterman?
I got some lovely pineapple coconut sparkling water.
I have lime bubbly.
Oh, lovely. I'm I got the special superstore version.
Coconut. You're bougie.
Pink is out.
Pinkies up. Isn't there nothing more satisfying than this?
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Except for when you're in a university seminar and there's like 250 people in the room and you've got to crack your bubbly and you're like,
No, I don't think so. I think you just rip it, grip it and rip it, make them all jealous.
grip it, rip it. Okay, welcome, Chad. Honestly, thank you so much for coming on. I
Yeah,
feel
thanks for
like
having
when
me.
I met you, and I'll give a backstory to listeners, but when I met you, I was like, oh no. Like, same sense of humor, same area of the world, entrepreneur, wacko brain. And I was like, yeah, he's got to come on the podcast. So I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate you reaching out and inviting me out. I think this is
Um,
wild that we're both in the same area.
yeah, so I think for listeners, it's probably important that we give a little bit of background. So Chad Midnight agreed to come on to the podcast, which I'm very grateful for because we met each other in South Africa about, what was that, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
South Africa, but both from Alberta, both from Spruce Grove, which is so random, so strange. Essentially, we were invited there, I guess, to represent our companies. Um, and we were amongst how many delegates were there?
I'd say around 42.
So 42 Canadian delegates, and somehow we were bus buddies.
Yeah.
So and then conversation sparked, and yeah, so the summit took place in South Africa. It was the G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, and Chad and I had the opportunity to collaborate with entrepreneurs, to network, all that good stuff. But now we're back. We're back in the swing of life. So I invited Chad to come on the show to chat with me about his entrepreneurship journey, but then also the random life things in between. Um, so I figured we should probably start with an introduction into you, Chad, kind of where you grew up and your interests when you were younger, and then how you came about to being this entrepreneur that you are today. And I know that that's a lofty question,
Wow.
so by
My
all
first thought
means,
is how far back do I go?
go as far back as you would like, because I think that childhood memories and
Hmm.
highlights are key to understanding who an individual is and why they are the way they are today.
Yeah, I agree. Nature, nurture, the whole deal. So I was Edmonton area born and raised. I Until 6 years old we lived in Millwoods, and for those that aren't aware, that's one of the more sketchy areas of Edmonton, and especially back then. Now it's a little bit more north side. But we moved to an acreage about 20 minutes south of Sherwood Park. So you got to pass two highways to get to town. And my father was really big in the bar and hospitality industry. He had King's Night Pub. He had a franchise for, oh, what's that one with the gecko? I'll remember it soon. But he had some country bars too. He had one called Scholars, which he later sold to Hudson's, which is by the U of A. And that was predominantly him from, he was entrepreneur from a very young age, like literally probably around 16 years old. And he's in his 50s now. And back when King's Night Pub, it later rebranded to Jet Nightclub, that was a completely different era than what we're used to. And you could smoke in the bars, and you could promote highball drinks for like 30 cents each, something ridiculous. And he was Molson Canadian's largest rep for years. So just imagine, like, the guests they had come there, it was unspeakable today. And so I learned a lot from him growing up. And my mom and my dad, they were a really good team, where mom was the traditional home wife, fantastic mother, and dad was the provider, and he was always out late, work, work, work. He always knew how to mix in some play, but
What would be his
we
play?
used to.
Can I throw in a
Oh,
question there?
I wouldn't be able to see that. No, he had a lot of family friends back home. They'd hang out and everything, and I would kind of role play as their bartender, server, and they'd tip me money, and it was always a good time.
That's wicked.
The I was always a very curious child. I started reading from the age of like 2, and to make sure that I kept up with getting honors all throughout elementary, my mom would always gift me or reward me a pack of Pokemon booster pack cards. And this is back when it like first came out, so we're talking the holy trinity of holographic cards. And
Basically.
that was enough to make sure that I stayed on top of things. But I always kind of, looking back now, I now realize that I definitely had ADHD from a very young age. But my parents did not want to do any medication for it whatsoever, which is completely understandable. And we used to go on a lot of family vacations when I was younger. And when I was 12, that was probably our last vacation as a family as a whole. And I have a younger sister. She's 5 years younger than me, and so she would have been around 6 or 7 at the time. And one morning, we're at this all-inclusive resort, and it was kind of like a brunch breakfast setting. And all of a sudden, my mom started feeling really off, and I didn't really understand what was going on. She she said, "Come with me to the bathroom," and this is back when men and female washrooms were very strict, right? And I was very uncomfortable. I was just like, I don't want to be here. She says, if something happens, whatever, go out and get help. It's like, oh God. And then something did, and the whole rest of that was kind of a wipe, memory wipe for me. It was all blur, and all of a sudden, Dad, he's off doing things, and I haven't seen Mom, and my sister and I are being kind of babysat by the staff of the hotel. and we came back early. It was supposed to be a 2 week trip, and unfortunately, I learned that she passed away after I got home. And it was partly due to unclean drinking water and the ice or whatever it was, and we were kind of made aware of that. But like ice, it's really hard to control, and ever since then, it was kind of just like a deep, I don't want to say yearning, but let's go with yearning, where it's kind of not right that a lot of people in the world have to experience that all the time and deal with that risk. And water is 10% of all of us. Water's life. We all know the story. So my father and I, we co-founded Aqueduct Water Systems, where it's imagine a big water cooler, but just a lot bigger, and it's so that you can have off-grid, safe drinking water wherever you are in the world, and it's a lot more economical, economic. Jesus, you can.
Moving on.
I'm sick, by the way. I came back from the trip very sick. I'm still sick, so apologies for that. But it's more convenient. It's more accessible. It's cheaper than you would rather have your single-use bottles. So that's the
So to
reason
give
why I try to push it so hard.
like listeners an idea, I guess, because it really helped me when you showed me an image, and of course I'll
Yeah.
link it in the show notes so listeners can have a peek at what that system looks like. But you have patented the system, is that correct? To have the water jugs that we now know as like stand upright in sort of a corporate setting, or even in your house. You have patented a system where those can be stacked and I guess laid out horizontally or on its side, and that flow is continuous. Yeah. If listeners are
Yeah.
watching, that's exactly what that looks like. Yeah. So then, can you talk
So
us through
we're
the system?
there's three. There might be more, but the three that I know of: different patents, process, design, utility. We have a utility patent, and what that means is it doesn't matter what the system looks like. It's just patenting the way the system works. So we patented the flow of gravity using liquids. The reason that they're all stepped up like that is because the gravity alone will dispense water from the top jug first, and then the next, and the next, and then the next. So it's kind of like, because we have a hospitality background, and I learned a lot with that too. So it's kind of like you're at a bar or restaurant and you want to order a beer, but the keg's tapped. So it takes like 10, 15 minutes usually from the retap the keg and get you your beverage. The reason that 5 gallon jugs are never used commercially is because you'd have to tap that way too often. It's just impossible. So now with the way that our system works is you can keep on refilling the jugs as one empties, or you can wait for the whole system to drain and then refill it. And you can have fresh spring water, reverse osmosis, distilled, purified, whatever you'd like, on tap wherever you are. And if you want to provide the water for free for disaster relief, etc., awesome. And then if you want to sell the water commercially, the price, same amount of volume that you get in a single-use can or a single-use water bottle, it's profit margins go up 2,000%. Because it's kind of like Costco. You go bulk, you save.
Wow. Chad, I want to ask you, and I want to actually first, this is the first time I've heard about your actual story with your mother. So my heart is freaking broken, and my condolences. I know that was a couple years ago, a few years ago, but that's devastating, and that should not happen to anyone. So I applaud you for, starting up this, finding a solution to something that, man, I wish she had access to. Yeah.
Thank you.
I Are you targeting specific people right now? Like, I actually am curious. Did you target that resort that you were at? That like, did you kind of off of the swing of it go like, I want to hit them as my first target, or are you a little bit more niche in a certain market right now?
Yeah. So, being how my father's my co-founder, he he taught me a lot about hospitality and about how all these bars and restaurants could benefit for it. So we targeted hospitality first initially, but as you know, as all entrepreneurs know, timing is everything, and the timing was not good. So we got the patent issued in 2018. After that, I had to learn what I was even talking about because we're not engineers. This when I first saw the prototype and trying to get it to work, I was just like, this is an utter failure. This is never going to work. And then COVID hit in 2020, and at that time we were still calling it what the patent was called, like the business name, 5 gallon water gravity supply system. So good luck trying to have
And
business meetings doing that.
again.
Exactly. So these bars and restaurants, a lot of them are closing down, or they just weren't seen as essential, so their hours were reduced. They had become ghost kitchens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we rebranded in 2021 to, I chose the name Aqueduct because it works off gravity, it connects people to water, bridges people. And we kind of pivoted a little bit to try to enter disaster relief. And 2021, 2022 was when events were just starting to come back on. So we got into a few different large events and did some disaster relief with, I don't know if it's considered disaster, but in Nicaragua with water aid in 2020, we gifted the technology to
Mm.
water aid there to use, and they needed hand washing at the time more than water drinking. So they use our technology for hand washing stations all down the Caribbean coast. And it was serving probably around 55,000 people a day. And it really helped them. And they loved it so much that earlier this year signed a contract to give them distribution rights for the water systems all throughout Latin America. And since then, we've done some job sites and industrial work sites, like a co-op refinery in Saskatchewan. So every year, these big refineries, they have a shutdown, and we rent them a plethora of systems to use.
I bet you've learned a lot from where it started to where it is now. Was there a pivotal moment that you can kind of like pinpoint in where the company started at its early stage? Like you said, that moment where you're like, oh shit, this is, I don't know if I should keep going down this route, to like, thank God I did because now this is where I'm at here. Is there even a handful of weeks, a month, that you can remember vividly that allowed that transition, that kind of, I guess, 90 or 180 to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, there was when we first trying to a lot of it's education because nothing like this has ever been done before, and it's really hard to gain the trust of the consumer to try something brand new, even though the ROI is like literally next week. We got into a bunch of different trade shows, disaster relief, hospitality, restaurants, all throughout Canada and the US, and spent a lot of money and got a lot of interest, but that interest very quickly faded away after following up, getting back home. And so that was really disheartening. And then I think when it flipped, because doing that constantly, it's kind of like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, right? When it flipped was 2022. I started getting involved with more sustainable event networks and nonprofit organizations, and I helped some of them, became a board member of some of them, and through one of them, we got introduced to a sustainable event organization that does the Super Bowl. And so in Los Angeles 2022, we had our system at the red carpet for
No
the
way.
NFL Honor Awards. I'm serious, yeah, yeah. And that was a very cool feeling. I remember watching it live, just trying to see if I could see it anywhere.
Pause
I
play.
couldn't.
Pause
I
play.
could. Yeah, yeah. But the feedback we got was really great. from the producers and even some athletes. They had a heat wave that day, and all the athletes were given aluminum can water, and once that emptied, they just keep on using that to refill with our system.
No way.
So it was truly sustainable, truly like a really cool moment, and that gave me a lot of momentum and encouragement moving forward.
Um, in those moments, if you can reflect back on that, those moments where you're like, shoot, like because I'm imagining that there was times where you're like, I've got to find a new career, I've got to find a new job, I've got to figure something else because like this is not the one, this is not going to work. What did make you like come back and no, I'm gonna figure it out. No, I'm gonna come back. It's gonna work. I got like what was the thing, or did it always change that motivation? What did you pull from in order to figure things out?
Yeah. Well, that entrepreneurship and there's that inner drive to leave a legacy of some kind that really did come from my father. And I think, like, again, that year 2022, that's when I realized this could be something because I got accepted for the G20 YEA for Hamburg, Germany in 2022. And until then, I have, like, I guess, give a little bit of context. Before 2020, I've never done a video call like this ever. And any business that you wanted to do had to be local, within driving distance, reasonably speaking. And COVID really opened up a lot of opportunities. So it was kind of bittersweet. But when trying to make this a real thing, family and friends, they want the best for you, but they don't really understand it still. And I had a lot of friends I grew up with that didn't get it, and partly that's because it took a long time for me to learn how to even communicate what this is. And being around all of these youth entrepreneurs and you've seen it the last couple weeks, where everyone just lifts each other up and tries to find really creative ways to collaborate or be like, oh, I know this person, I'll introduce you to them. When you're explaining what you're doing, when you're talking about anything, no one's being judgmental. Everyone's just it feels almost like spiritual in a sense. Like it just you really feel it in your core. So getting to experience that in 2022 for the very first time and seeing what other people are doing that are my age and being around a completely new group of people that I could call my family, truly, that is definitely what made me feel like this is real. I need to make sure that I keep pushing for this because I don't want to let my new family down. And I want them to always be in my corner. And they will be as long as I don't give up.
Yeah, yeah. I think the key element in a lot of hard times in life, whether it be business or personal, is if you've got, it doesn't have to be a huge community, but a couple of people that you can hold on to, that you can just use as a guide whenever you're not too sure about a few things. I feel like that aspect of community is huge. And we can disregard it a lot of the times in life, like not really understand the importance of it, especially when life gets busy and you're not really filling up that cup of community too much, and you probably should be. It's in those moments where you're like holy shit, I'm in deep here, like something's not right. It's when you need that community to pull yourself up again and to find that motivation. And I think that is truly the biggest thing for me too, is sometimes you get, especially as an entrepreneur, as you know, you're in your head 24/7. Like you're in your head about new ideas or new concepts or why something might not work, why something might work, if you should pivot some way. Like there's just always something in your mind. And so you can be kind of somewhat isolated in that, and that can become an isolating feeling, at least for me. And so it is important to like come up for air sometimes and realize your community and make sure that you are in good hands with that community that you're around, because they can do some really good stuff for you mentally whenever you need that boost. So I couldn't agree with you more. Finding that circle of people that finally you're like, oh, I'm not cuckoo. Nice. I'm
Yeah.
not the only one like this. Sweet. I was just talking to my
Yeah.
dad
Yeah.
last night actually about the G20. It was the first time that I'd saw him since coming back. And he's got an entrepreneurial mind, was always in business. And so there's lots of conversations that I feel like we can relate on that topic. And he's saying the same thing, like when he was starting off some of his companies, it took a while, but there's this time, and it happens at different points in people's lives as an entrepreneur, where you are finally in the room with people that you're like, oh, okay, like here I go. This is what I needed, because I wasn't too sure if I was out for lunch. But I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay because all these other people are just like me, and that's that reassuring feeling that I think is important to have. Um, Chad, do you feel like in general that there is something can be misconstrued or misconceived or misunderstood rather, from the general public that might have no, like there's lots of listeners that are interested in business, like entrepreneurship and like that like innovative drive and that type of work where it's kind of hustle, and but there's listeners that aren't that themselves, and nor do they really want to be, but they're interested and that's why they listen to the show. Is there something that is misconceived or misunderstood that you would say, from the general public about entrepreneurship or about entrepreneurs?
When I was in junior high school, there was always every year one day where you had to log on to this special website where you fill out like 100 questions to for it to tell you, pop out an answer with what career would be best suited for you. I remember in that day I probably took it about 3 times, and I got either director, some kind of project manager, or entrepreneur. And all of it was kind of like a confirmation bias because I've grown up seeing my dad work to become the big boss man, and I saw how what kind of culture that he created so that everyone really respected him and looked up to him. And I really wanted that feeling for myself. And I think from a young age I couldn't really see anything else for me because, and I still don't know what I want to do with my life, by the way. I'm going to be 33 next month.
Right here with your buddy.
I, yeah, it's a little bit of ego for sure, where like, oh, I want to do something where I'm the big boss, right? But if you do want to pursue something like that, you really have to understand that it takes a very long time to really reap those fruits that you've sowed, that you're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor in a way where you have a little bit more leeway with your 9 to 5, for example. Something that I wish I understood when I first started was that when you're trying to do something like this for yourself, you're working harder, not less. And it's not like, oh, I'm the boss, I'm the manager, you do what I say, and I'm going to sit back here in my office and watch. It's no, you control the culture. You lead by showing. You lead by doing the hard work because respect is everything. And you pay your employees their paycheck, and they know to expect a consistent salary. But with you, nothing's consistent. And you're going to have a lot of highs and a lot of lows. And when your employees clock in, clock out, sometimes you're barely sleeping because you're still working. So, like, during the summer, it's my busiest time of year, and legit, like, many, many all-nighters. When I was young, all-nighters on the weekend just to play video games with my friends, and now
We're
it's
fun.
all-nighters just to make
All-nighters
sure
were
that
fun.
everything's ready for the next day. Yeah, yeah. And you can still make it fun as long as you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
But just know that it is so hard. But as long as you're doing something that you truly care about, you don't have to always have something that you know you want to do. Just take the skills that you've either been born with or grown and develop them in a way that you can use for any opportunity that comes your way.
Yeah, I think I just to piggyback or echo that because I couldn't agree more. The assumption that you have your own company, therefore you have freedom and you get to delegate, and it is true, honest to God. And I think it depends the type of company that you're starting as well. But for the most part, you are signing up for when you go to the insurance company, the registration company, and you register your company. That day moving forward, if you're legit about it, you buckle up for the first 5 years minimum being nothing but 16-hour days. Like, and obviously there'll be lights at the end of the tunnel, and there'll be some like moments like your moment with the Super Bowl. Many moments in my career so far as well that you just need those I guess lights at the end of the tunnel to remind yourself why you're doing it, because if it's always just like down in the ruts and you're working too hard and you're not even coming up for air, then you will burn out, and that will not be a successful company, hand to heart. Like that's not sustainable. But those moments, if you can really acknowledge them, where you're like that glimpse of hope, that tiny bit of success, using that, being a person that can just use that to then spark momentum for the next 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is, that is genuinely the reality of entrepreneurship, at least in my eyes, and it sounds like in yours. Because when you, like I said, go to register your company, that day moving forward, hardest few years of your life are right there. And I think that is why, and I think it's important too that they say past that 5 year mark, and that's kind of like where you can start to see if that business is truly a business that you can hold on to and scale. And I think that is an ish, like a window ish. Some see it sooner, some see a little bit later. But the 5 years, the lessons that you learn, both as a professional, but also on a personal level about yourself, is incomparable to any other experience I think that you can have in life. I really do think it's a transition that an individual goes through, and a personal growth chapter of their life that is beyond the actual company you decided to start. You figure stuff out about yourself that I have a hard time actually thinking if there's anything that would compare to that. Like, you learn so much about yourself, and you grow thick ass skin, like thick skin, because you just have to. It is your life on the line. Like, it's your roof over your head. It's your, like, it becomes that. And as cheesy as it sounds, it does become that. So yeah, I really do echo that. And I think that that's a big thing too, that I believe people have this assumption that you're now a business owner, therefore freedom, money, flexibility. Far from, until, like you said, many years down the road. And
Yeah,
disagree if there
it's
was any
literally
things that
trial
are,
by fire.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
No, I agree
Um,
completely. It's trial by fire. It's like all the Greek mythologies rolled into one. We're literally pushing the ball up the hill.
yeah, yeah, and you better hope that, I think it's Sisyphus, enjoys that
Yep.
push up the hill. That is that for sure. But would you, if do you have a girlfriend, I believe from my memories, and I want to ask you
Yep.
if you feel like that person that is by your side day in day out plays a huge role as well. Because I know in my experience, my fiance is my like anchor, like truly my anchor. I don't know what your experience is, if that's echoed or not.
Yeah, 100%. And she's upstairs to hear everything I say. We were just last night celebrating her birthday at a dinner, and we went to Le Petit Chef. So it was really nice to take her out for something like that. But 100%, we met in 2021, and I've never felt that level of comfort and belonging and safety with someone that quickly. And she feels the same way. And it's we both like everyone's got a backstory, right? We both had upbringings that we could kind of we could understand each other, and both in understanding that it really sucks when love kind of has a price, or if there's like a contractual, if love is contractual, and it's just like that's not right. And having her, it's like to know that every time you come home from a trip that everything's okay, and you have, because like me being like major ADHD, and even like if you're getting like sick in public, any example, you got a mask, right? You gotta show your best self all the time, and knowing that I can come home and I can take that mask off,
Mm.
and we can just banter back and forth, or just enjoy being each other's presence, just clicking the brain off. I've never been with someone before where I can turn my brain off, or turn to a different channel rather, because like what you said earlier, it's just constant. It doesn't end. And one, meditation, breath work has helped tremendously, and the other is having having a partner that you can really be your best self with.
Yeah. I want to segue into, you just mentioned breathwork, and it was actually kind of a segue that I wanted to take. Is there forms of activities or hobbies that you have that does allow you to change frequencies and practices that you implement in order to
Wim
help
Hof.
that? What is it? Wim Hof? The Wim
Wim
Hof method.
Hof.
Can you
Yeah,
explain for listeners that
he
might not know?
is a wizard. All right. So WIM space HOF. He has a couple different versions. One's more advanced, one's beginner, one's normal. But it's 3 rounds of breath work where you take deep breaths. You kind of cycle your breath like a wave through your stomach and your chest, and you breathe in, breathe out, and you do that for 30 counts, and then you completely exhale and hold your breath for a minute, and then you take a deep breath, and then you do it again. So 3 rounds of that, and after you feel euphoric, you feel a little bit tingly, and of course, everyone's different. You got to be careful. If you have to seek a physician's guidance, you got to talk to your doctor. But when I first started doing that in meditation, it was during COVID, and that was like the time in my life that I completely changed for the better. And it just calms you down. Like if you're ever doing a big speaking event, or you get socially anxious about anything, you can do either the full version or a mini version of it in your car or backstage, whatever. And it is like technically fringe science, but there's a lot of prolific people that swear by it, and I swear by it.
Yeah, that's neat. There's so many methods out there that I think
It
for
is neat.
somebody, what?
Yes, it is neat. Yeah, I agree.
There is another one that I actually don't know what the name for it is, but you essentially count to three on the in, hold for four, and then exhale for three again. So it's just this pattern, this repeat pattern. And holding it to restrict the oxygen. Yeah. Well, and so that's another one is they actually did that in the military, but you go across the board and you finish that box and it's repeat.
Yep.
But this one I actually like because I think of it as literal, and maybe this is just my brain how it works. I just think of it like almost as if you were at the carnival and you're whacking that mallet to try and get the thing up to the bell. This is how I picture it in my
Mhm.
brain, where my inhale is the thing going up to the bell. I hold it for four counts, restrict the oxygen up, and then from there, I exhale and all that oxygen is free and the blood is moving again. And that for me, I only need to, because there's many methods that I use, but that is one that I use, like you said, right before a public speaking event. Or even like I was a dancer growing up, so before on stage, like all of those kind of things, you would need to do it like 4 or 5 times, if you only have a couple seconds, and it's revitalizing, like truly. So yeah, I breath work is huge, and it's an easy access, anyone can do that. um
Yep.
Chad, what are some like weekend random hobbies or nighttime random things that you get up to, that are kind of off the beaten path, like something that is, maybe it's your Pokemon cards, I don't know.
Uh, well, those have been in storage for a while, so that those days are long behind. But I'll still reminisce. But I don't know. I'm kind of boring. Like I'm a really I've been like straight edge my whole life, and
Are you
back in
books,
like
are
my
you
early
movies?
20s, like we had a group of friends. Ah, I read a lot, absolutely. Movies, like, just average person and playing video games here and there. But I wish I had something fun for you. But no, I'm a
Seriously,
straight edge guy. I'm
you're straight
really,
up
really
letting me
boring.
down here.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
worries. All
I
right.
know.
Well,
I know. Friends and family, stuff like that. Yeah.
okay, who's
Doing
your
cool things like this.
go-to
It's a Sunday right now, you know?
when you plug in, so when we were at the G20 Summit, that took us how long was your commute to South Africa?
Oh, brother. Okay, so Edmonton to Seattle, and then from Seattle to Doha, Qatar, and then from Doha to Johannesburg. And then it was pretty much the same way back, just instead of Seattle, it was Los Angeles. And they all had like a pretty lengthy layover in between, some 15-hour flights, some 8-hour flights. It was taxing, but I knew I wanted to do it because there was layovers in Europe, but I've been to Europe before, but I've never been to the Middle East yet. So I wanted to make sure I visited that airport because I heard it was the most beautiful one in the world, one of, and they are correct. It is beautiful.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
So then you on that journey, watching, listening, reading, what's taking your attention to get through that 30-hour travel time?
Well, thank goodness for in-flight entertainment, where you can just put something on and then try to get some sleep. And then I think my favorite author is Dan Brown. He did the Da Vinci Code, Lost Symbol, Angels and Demons. Big fan, awesome. And he just came out with a new one. Can't remember the name of it now, but I saw it in the airport and I picked it up. I saw how heavy it was, and I was just like, maybe I'll finish Origin first because my backpack's already very heavy.
Um, Okay, I want to ask you about your time in South Africa before we wrap things up, because I think that that's a beautiful way to close off. Is exactly how we met only a couple weeks ago. But I know you did some personal excursions before the summit, I believe. And if not, then during the summit, did you get up to anything? And what were your thoughts on South Africa?
Well, for me, it was pretty cut and dry. I landed on the 14th, and I uh, I went to India in 2023, and I went to my family doctor. I said, "Is there anything I should know? For health, pharmaceuticals, whatever." And he was just like, "Yeah, take this shot in your arm. Here's a laundry list of all these pills, and do not eat any street food." I was like, "All right, yes, sir." For this one, I went to him. I said the same thing, and he says, "Nah, climate's pretty much like California. You'll be fine, but do not take a taxi." So from the airport to the hotel, I uh, I arranged secure travel, and I got picked up in a Mercedes Benz, and the guy had a sidearm for protection, and it was reasonable. It was about 70 Canadian each way, and so that was my first experience, which was unreal. And I didn't get to do any excursions, unfortunately, but I saw everyone else's photos, so that was good enough for me. And really, it was just from landing. That first day was all sleep, and then we had all the events. I think you got there a couple days later, and networking, 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 networking. So woke up, network, went to sleep. That's what it was all about for me.
I love the fact that the face is straight, like as straight as can be. Woke up, networking, sleep, repeat. For like,
I mean, you saw it.
I was saying to my dad
Things got
last
a little
night,
crazy. I network with some pretty high prolific people.
it's the name badge with the QR code around the neck. And it got to the point where it was like, I don't even think I looked at some of the people in their eyes before they just went straight to the QR code and scanned. And like, listen, I get it. Like, you want to take advantage of those networking opportunities. But there was many of times where I was like, you know what? I think I've maxed out the amount of contacts I can take from today. I have got to go debrief, understand who the heck I have like got their card from or in like what's it called? The not Indeed. Is it Indeed? I can't. It's just leaving my mind, escaping my mind. But I
Oh,
feel like
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn. And so I feel like every day, kind of like you said, network and then debrief with yourself like who, when, where, how. Are they somebody for me or is this somebody for somebody else that I said I would connect with? Like it can be, it can be so much all at once that I do truly feel
I'm
like
losing you a little bit.
hindsight. Can you hear me? Test,
Yep,
test.
yep.
Boom. We're back, baby.
And that's
I've
entrepreneurship
experienced
right there. Shite happens. Shiitake mushrooms happen.
I've experienced for the last few episodes some technical difficulties, and it's causing me a lot more work on the editing side than I want.
I don't doubt it.
But yeah, anyways, I think that hindsight, I wish I had known like the extent of the connections and the contacts that you would be bringing back because it's so exciting and it really valuable. But if those can just become like forgotten contacts unless you genuinely take time to be like, who is who and what is what.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, listen, you're genuinely a solid human being, which I, from a personal level, just really, really respect that and I'm grateful for it.
Thank you so
So
much. Likewise.
I'm going to now close off with these maybe 3, 4 fire round questions, lighthearted, random, and then from there, I'll add your info to the show notes. But is there anything that you kind of want to finish off with? Anything that you want to mention before we segue?
I think you covered everything. I have to completely agree with you with all the networking. I don't agree with you wish that someone would told you. I think learning by fire, that's the best way. And that's the most exciting way. But 100%, it is nearly impossible to follow up with everybody. And even while you're there, being able to meet and discuss with all 20 country delegates, like, I don't even think I spoke to anyone from Italy, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then I guess that's why, and this is my first year, but why I'm fired up to go again, because I'm like, you
Yeah.
give me another go. Give me another chance.
Put me back in, coach.
I'll do better, I swear.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, so Chad, if you were to be any other role that you could think of business wise as a professional, it could be as far reaching as a professional NFL player or an artist to
Hollywood.
see what is it?
Hollywood.
You want to be in films.
I have the stage name already. Put me in, coach.
Chad, wait, this reminds me when I first met you, you were like, if I was a girl, this was my name. What was it going to be again?
If I was a girl.
There
Oh,
was
I don't
something
know.
that, or no, it, maybe not if you were a girl. Maybe it was like your parents were picking between two names.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so my father wanted to name me Hunter, and my mom vetoed that. So I would have been Hunter Midnight, which is even. I don't want to D-bag. I don't want to use the whole term. I want to be respectful, but that's that's
There's
pushing the
something there.
envelope. Yeah. And
Um,
Chad, 32 years ago, did not mean what Chad means today.
fair
So
enough.
unfortunate.
Um, if you could live any other place in the world, where would you live?
Oh, if if I succeeded in everything, I think like somewhere around Switzerland would be fantastic. It's lofty, but that's a beautiful area.
If you could have dinner with a past, present, human being, who would it be?
Oh, pass. Let's come back to it.
Show notes. Show notes answer. um,
Like on Jeopardy.
okay,
No,
if you
Family
had a
Feud.
hundred, or sorry, let me rephrase. What was the best $100 that you've spent in the last little bit?
My transport from the hotel to the airport.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
100%.
Okay, to finish things off, if you could have a magic wand, and this is something I ask all guests, spread it to the world, a personality trait, a characteristic that you just wish everyone had that would probably make the world a better place, what would that characteristic be?
Hmm. Um. Well, it's kind of like what we talked about at the G20 there, where everyone's raising each other up. But there's a mantra that I say to myself and I say to any staff that are kind of not lost, but in need of a little bit of a help finding their North Star. And it goes for anyone. It's just be the best version of yourself that you can be. And it's simple, it's digestible, and it's personal because one one way of living isn't really applicable for everyone. But if you just say that, you use that, and you use it to try to be your best version of yourself, I think that makes the world what it should be.
That's awesome. Okay, Chad, thank you so much. I will, like I said, add your info, your company into the show notes. So if listeners want to get to know you or understand what you're up to, what was the company name again? One more time for listeners.
The company name is Aqueduct Water Systems. The website is aqueduct.eco, and I have my person in mind to have dinner with. It's Christopher Walken, because I would just love to mimic his behavior. Sparkling water? Oh, it's spicy.
Please, listeners, watch this episode because you'll get
It
some
needs more
good little
cowbell.
stories. Okay, Chad, have a wicked rest of your Sunday. Thank you for coming on. It's
Thanks,
always a pleasure
Briggs.
to chat with you.
Absolutely, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
That's it for today's episode of Leave Average for Joe. I hope this conversation with Chad left you a little more inspired and maybe challenged you to keep pushing your own limits. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Connect with me anytime on Instagram at LeaveAverageForJoe. Send me an email, admin@briggsandco.ca, or of course, visit the website, please, www.briggsandco.ca, to sign up for the Friday newsletter where I share 4 new gems each week from the worlds of philosophy, business, health and fitness, and the arts. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Being a part of this wonderful community. Stay curious, stay driven, and I'll see you right back here next week for another episode of Leave Average for Joe.